Not every single person out there needs to hire a financial advisor. A lot of people do. A lot of people find a lot of benefit from hiring some kind of financial professional, whether they call themselves a financial advisor or a planner or wealth manager or investment counselor or some combination of those words. But not everybody needs one. What we found in our financial planning firm is that when people engage our firm for help, they hire us for one or more of four different distinct reasons. And what we're going to do in this video is cover what those reasons are. The first reason you might want to consider hiring a financial professional is if you're just not all that interested in personal finance. The good news here is that personal finance is not all that complicated. There's just a lot of information to learn and synthesize and stay on top of if you're going to do the process justice. Now, when I say personal finance, what I mean is a variety of different subtopics: cash flow and debt management, investing, investment planning, taxes and tax planning, insurance, risk management, estate planning, education planning for kids, grandkids, other family members, whoever, real estate, either investing in real estate or through your primary residence, small business planning if you're a sole proprietor or own a business. All these things impact future you and future you's financial situation. The good news is that none of those topics on their own are all that complex. There's just a whole lot of information to synthesize and stay on top of. And if you have a zest for this stuff and the time and the energy to look through all of it on your own and make good decisions as a result of your ongoing research and maintenance, then you probably don't need to hire an advisor. But if you're just not all that into it for whatever reason, or you don't have the time or energy to devote to it, it might not be a bad idea to consider hiring a professional. The second reason you might want to consider hiring a financial advisor is if the complexity just becomes overwhelming. Now, remember, there are all these different subtopics with regard to personal finance. None of them are all that complex. But what happens when you have three or four changing on you simultaneously? What happens if the markets crash and we have a new tax bill that changes the tax code at the same time that you have another child, or maybe you want to start a business or something like that? Right? You have three or four of these things where individually you might be able to pencil out the right path on a cocktail napkin, but now they're all interacting with each other simultaneously. You might find that you need some help sorting all that stuff out from a professional. The third reason you might want to consider hiring a financial advisor is if you're unsure how to navigate a transition into the next phase of life. The classic transition, the biggest, perhaps the biggest financial transition in everyone's life, is the transition into retirement. While you're working, you're probably saving some money every single paycheck, maybe deferring it into a 401k or another kind of investment or retirement account. This pile, this nest egg for future you is growing and growing and growing. And then at some point, you stop working. You transition into retirement. And instead of adding money to that pile every single month, now you're taking a little bit from it every single month in order to exist, maybe with the help of Social Security or a pension or something like that. Well, that's a pretty scary transition. How do you know whether the pile is going to be big enough to last you the rest of your life? We don't know how long we're going to live or what our future medical expenses might be. There are just so many unknowns. So that's the classic example of a transition into the next phase of life that a lot of people need financial help with. But it could be anything. It could be having a baby or having another baby. It could be changing jobs. You have a whole new set of company benefits to sort through potentially. You have a decision on what to do with the assets from your prior firms, prior companies' retirement plan. It could be starting a business. It could be closing or exiting from a business. There are all sorts of life changes that make people uncomfortable with their financial decision making. And if you're about to go through one of those, that might not be a bad time to consider some financial help if you're not 100% confident on your own. The fourth, and I think by far most common reason it might be time to consider some financial help is that the element of jeopardy is starting to really get too big for your comfort level. And it goes something like this when people find our financial planning firm and decide to hire us. They'll say, I've been doing everything on my own. I've been doing my tax planning and my investing on my own for quite some time. I'm pretty comfortable with it, but now the numbers are starting to get a little bit bigger and I'm less comfortable with a big mistake that it could cost me a lot more money than it would have 10 years ago. If you're first starting out and you have maybe $40,000 or $50,000 in the account and you make a mistake, that doesn't feel very good, but it's probably not the end of the world long term. If you have $1.5 million or $2 million in your investment accounts and you're that much closer to retirement and giving up your income for the rest of your life, well, a mistake can really be costly at that point. So the element of jeopardy and the discomfort that one mistake could cost you a whole lot of money is probably the most common element. And when people figure it's time to go consider or hire some kind of financial help, again, from a financial advisor, financial planner, or something along those lines. So just to reiterate, not every single human being on the face of the earth needs to hire a financial advisor. A lot of people are comfortable handling this stuff on their own, but a whole lot of people really find a lot of value in it. And the way to think about it is like any other professional engagement. You're paying a fee for a service. It could be a fee out of your investment accounts. It could be a check that you make to the financial professional, or maybe it comes out of your bank account, or some combination thereof. You're paying a fee. It should be completely transparent. You should know exactly what it is. And in return for that fee, you're getting a service. And if the value of that service exceeds the fee that you're paying, then it makes a lot of sense. It's a good investment. It's a good deal for you. But if you're paying more than the service you're getting in return, or even worse, if you don't even know what you're paying in the first place, then that's a red flag. It's a warning sign. You might want to reevaluate things. So again, not everybody needs an advisor, but if you're just not all that into personal finance, if you're not into staying on top of your own planning and your cash flow and your savings and your taxes, your investments, your insurance and all that, or if it's all just getting a little bit too complex for your comfort zone, if you're not sure how to navigate the phase into the next phase of life, or maybe the element of jeopardy is just becoming a little bit more, a little bit bigger than you're comfortable with, any one or more of those four signs might mean that it might not be a bad idea to start interviewing some professionals. So that's it for today. When you go to start interviewing professionals, if you feel like you need to take a shower at the end of the meeting, that's a bad sign. Run away. Don't hire that person. We'll cover the specifics of choosing and hiring a financial professional in a future video. Hey everybody, real quick, if you're someone who's saving for retirement and you're wondering how much you need saved up in order to retire, there's a whole bunch of different rules of thumb that you can use. Unfortunately, none of them are very specific or very good for our own financial planning purposes. If you're there wondering how much you need to retire, we built a 2-minute quiz you can fill out anonymously, and we'll email you the result of some rough numbers you might want to consider. As always, it's not advice, but maybe it's a point in the right direction. Click the link below here in the description if you're interested. Again, it won't take you any more than 2 minutes.